Hello everybody, welcome to another video. Okay, so this video is going to be nerd alert. I have been obsessed with Jurassic Park in an unhealthy way. This is not turning into a Jurassic channel, it's just I really wanted to do this video. In the background is one of the sandbox parks that I've built in Jurassic World Evolution 2. Just gonna throw it on there in the background. Maybe one day I'll take you on some tours of those. If people who like Jurassic are interested, comment down below, let me know. But today, okay, we've all seen the trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth. So excited, I'm already waiting in line. Let's go. However, I have a couple of issues. Not issues, questions, okay? And I'm sure all of you do. I know there's a lot of other Jurassic channels that have kind of covered this, but I want to do my own bit. So let's get into it. Grab a drink. Let's do this. I have receipts, so I might be looking at the screen because I have a lot of information that I typed up today to go through this and just make sure I can get this as accurate as possible. So we're going to be talking about the timeline of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, and at the end of this we're going to include Rebirth into the timeline where I think it makes the most sense. I'm still not 100% convinced. I also want to talk about the Drex, and I also want to talk, which not a lot of people are talking about, is my issue with the Mosasaurus. And we'll get into that at the end, because make it make sense. Make it make sense. Okay, so InGen. So the birth of InGen, early dinosaur cloning, started around 1975 to 1985. So in 1975, InGen was founded in San Diego by Mr. John Hammond. Their goal, as we know, was to create genetic research to basically evolve and start cloning ancient species. Sorry, not ancient species. To start cloning extinct species, dinosaurs. So the late 70s, early 80s, Hammond partnered with Benjamin Lockwood, which we learned a lot about that in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Side note, personally, didn't love the trilogy. Entertaining? Why didn't we go back to Isla Sorna? I have questions. But anyways, so 1970 to 1980, Hammond partnered with Benjamin Lockwood. He was a wealthy entrepreneur, and he basically funded the research into cloning dinosaurs. I can't talk in this video either. I promise you guys, this is not alcohol, this is just water. That sounds so bad for people who don't watch my channel. I don't drink on camera usually. There's like twice, okay? Anyways, so he partners with Benjamin Lockwood. Benjamin Lockwood was basically the financial backing, which made it possible for InGen to advance its genetic technology. Around the 80s is actually when InGen began construction on what was going to be the very first Jurassic Park, and it was actually going to be in San Diego. They built an amphitheater, which for the fans in the second movie, we were actually exposed to it, we get to see it, but that was going to be the original park. Now, Hammond, being Hammond, was like, let's anx that, let's do something bigger and better and just something so out of reach, let's do an island. So in 1982 is when InGen leased Isla Sorna, Site B. It was a remote island off the coast of Costa Rica, and they actually obtained a 99-year lease on the island. And this would serve, as we know, as far as we knew, this was the factory floor. This is where they went and created the dinosaurs, and the idea was they would create them there and then ship them over to Isla Nublar. Now, in 1985 is when InGen actually leased Isla Nublar, which was about 120 miles off the coast of Costa Rica, to develop Jurassic Park. So in 1986, Hammond and Lockwood successfully extracted dinosaur DNA in the lab in the Lockwood Manor. We learned this in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. They kind of showed us the labs and everything. You've seen the movie. Now, it was around the mid-80s when Hammond had brought on Dr. Wu, It was around the mid-80s that Hammond brought on Dr. Wu to start experimenting with cloning. They started with, actually, I didn't know this, baby elephants before moving on to dinosaurs. So as soon as they successfully cloned their first dinosaur on Isla Sorna, now in 1987 is when Hammond began construction on Jurassic Park on Isla Nublar. His vision was to create a fully functional dinosaur theme park where visitors could witness living prehistoric creatures. Now in 1988 is when Jurassic Park's infrastructure was developed, including the electric fences, the automated tours, as well as the visitor center. We've all seen the movie, we know what happened in '93. Dr. Alan Grant, Dr. Sattler, Ian Malcolm, they all visit the park to basically give it a sign off so they can basically open up the park and, you know, it's safe, come on, come see our dinosaurs. And we all know how that ended. Dennis Nedry ended up creating some shady deals with Biosyn and ultimately stealing dinosaur DNA. In the process of doing that, created the system bug that basically shut down the entire park, leading to all of the dinosaurs to escape and to kill everybody, and we know how that ended. Also in '93, a hurricane had struck Isla Sorna, leading to an emergency evacuation of... Sorry, I was checking the thing. Isn't it a great park? I know you can't really see too much about it, but I spent hours on that thing. And that's not even one. I probably got like 20 of them that I've made. I just sit here and just for hours. Anyways, so in '93, a hurricane struck Isla Sorna, resulting in a whole evacuation. The dinosaurs were released to fend for themselves. Now, from what we learned in the movie up to that point, they should have died off. However, because they were lysine deficient. They should have been anyways. But they weren't. You know, herbivores were eating certain plant species that was producing the lysine, and obviously the carnivores were eating the herbivores, so they just thrived. So at this point, InGen is kind of screwed. They're in financial deficits. They need to kind of come up with a new plan. So in 1995, they basically started trying to capture dinosaurs from Isla Sorna and result back to the original plan of opening up Jurassic Park San Diego. However, we know that that also failed because the T-Rex broke out and was just running rampage through San Diego. So obviously that kind of foiled their plan there. And then InGen goes quiet for a little bit. Now in 1998, following the death of John Hammond, Simon Masrani, the CEO of Masrani Global Corporation, purchases InGen. InGen's headquarters was relocated back to San Diego, where Dr. Henry Wu continued his genetic research. In December of 2000, Dr. Wu was promoted within InGen, leading a new genetic project. And I didn't put this in my notes, I just thought of it now. It was also during that timeline that some sketchiness happened on Isla Sorna because they went back there and they created the Spinosaurus. We can cover that in another video. One of my favorite dinosaurs. I love the Spinosaurus. Fast forward a few years to May 30th, 2005, and Jurassic World finally opens to the public, fulfilling Hammond's lifelong dream of operating a dinosaur island. Everything's going smoothly. There's no breakouts. Attendance is through the roof. They have sponsors from different types of companies that are sponsoring different attractions. Fast forward to 2015, and they decided dinosaurs aren't scary enough anymore. We need to make a monstrosity. So they created the Indominus Rex. I personally liked the Indominus Rex. I thought it was clever. I really did like it. I wish it didn't die in the end, however. Obviously it breaks out, kills a bunch of people. It's a completely savage dinosaur, and ultimately ended to them needing to abandon Jurassic World completely. And in 2018, Mount Sibo erupted, completely destroying Isla Nublar. And then we have the events of Fallen Kingdom and Dominion, and we're not gonna go. I mean, Fallen Kingdom wasn't terrible. Dominion, however, that shouldn't have happened. I'm sorry. It had its odd moments, but come on. The Lotus, what is that? I was so angry. I could go on a whole rant on just how that movie was just such a disappointment for me. If you loved it, I love that for you. I personally, trash. So now let's talk about the exciting part. The purpose of this video. How does Jurassic World Rebirth fit into this timeline? Let's make it make sense. So, In the trailer, we are told that it is the original facility for the original Jurassic Park. It is ground zero.
This island was the research facility for the original Jurassic Park.
But I thought Isla Sorna was that. Make it make sense, please. So let's kind of go back into that timeline. InGen was founded in 1975. John Hammond, Benjamin Lockwood started their early genetic research in Benjamin Lockwood's manor. If the Rebirth Lab was truly the first facility, it would likely have been built in the late 1970s and early 1980s. This lab potentially could have been where InGen kind of perfected DNA extraction, and then they started moving operations over to Isla Sorna. So 1982 to 1986, expansion into Isla Sorna. If the Rebirth Lab was operational before 86, it would have served as a prototype facility, testing early cloning methods before Isla Sorna became the main site. 1985 to 1987, Jurassic Park starts to take shape. If Nublar was leased in 1985 and Hammond began construction of Jurassic Park in 1987, if Rebirth was the first lab, it may have provided the research needed to justify building Jurassic Park. The Rebirth facility was likely built in the late 1970s or early 1980s before the Isla Sorna project. Once Isla Sorna had become operational, InGen then abandons the Rebirth facility in favor of a more larger, secure island base. Or could Rebirth have been shut down for ethical reasons? As we know from the trailer, this was the island that housed the dinosaurs that were too dangerous for the original park. So what went on in those early years to make them completely abandon it? Maybe the first experiments were just that. They were unstable and they had a lot of failures. The Drex. Or could the Rebirth Island be a secret project? If Lockwood and Hammond disagreed on cloning ethics, this lab could have been where Lockwood started his own secret research lab. So let's do a kind of an overall timeline to kind of fit this all together. So late 70s to early 80s, Jurassic World's Rebirth Lab is built as InGen's first genetic research site. 1982, InGen moves cloning efforts to Isla Sorna, Site B, making Rebirth completely obsolete. 1985 to 1987, Jurassic Park is built on Isla Nublar using the findings from Rebirth. If Jurassic World Rebirth is truly about the first research lab, it likely predates both Isla Sorna and Jurassic Park and could reveal lost secrets about InGen's earliest experiments. So I have 4 explanations as to where this Drex comes from. Some of them are a little wild, some of them are more likely. Let's dive into those. If the Drex was one of InGen's earliest hybrid experiments, and I'm going to use the word hybrid because and I know like all the dinosaurs on Jurassic Park are not natural, they kind of fill in the gaps there, but this, to create what they created, was a little out there. So for the purposes of this, I'm just going to call it a hybrid. I know it's a mutant hybrid. It's a hybrid. If Jurassic World Rebirth is set before Isla Sorna in 1982, this means InGen may have secretly experimented with hybrid dinosaurs before officially starting their cloning program on Site B. So the Drex could have been one of the first genetic tests breeding multiple dinosaurs and modern animal DNA before the Indominus Rex was even created. If the experiment failed, InGen may have just abandoned the creature on the island rather than risking exposure to the public. This would explain why no one knew about the Drex, as it was part of InGen's early secret projects. So, okay, then how did it survive all this time? Well, let's dive into that. So if InGen abandoned the island, leaving the Drex to survive alone, if the Rebirth Island was abandoned in the 1980s, it's possible that some dinosaurs, including the Drex, were left behind to fend for themselves, like we saw in Isla Sorna, and we know that to be the case. If the Drex was an early hybrid, it was obviously too aggressive and very unstable, causing InGen to shut down the facility and just leave the creature behind. Over the decades, the Drex could have adapted to its environment, possibly even reproducing if other modified dinosaurs were also left on the island. Life finds a way. Again, that's an out there theory, but it would, if it truly was alive and kicking from way back then to now, how is it that same dinosaur? The next theory I had was kind of bringing Camp Cretaceous into the mix. So we know with the Scorpius Rex, when Dr. Wu created it, Masrani asked him, you know, that you gotta destroy this thing. That's not going in my park. Wu obviously didn't listen to this and ended up freezing the dinosaur in a lab that Masrani didn't know about until Camp Cretaceous, when it was de-thawed and wreaked havoc on the island. What if this happened with the D-Rex? So the other possibility is the D-Rex wasn't active this entire time, but instead was contained in a hidden lab on the island. InGen could have froze or sedated the D-Rex, and it could have remained dormant for decades until something like an earthquake, a system failure, or human interference woke it up. Since the island was abandoned, no one would have been around to control it or contain it. This would mean the D-Rex is still one of InGen's best kept secrets till now. The next theory kind of ties in with that one where I'm talking about it could have been human interference. So, kind of, so stay with me. So the D-Rex was potentially maybe experimented on by a new group. If someone discovered the Rebirth Island after InGen shut it down, they might have continued the research in secret, reviving or even modifying the D-Rex. This could mean Masrani Global, Biosyn, or another rogue group found the island and restarted the hybrid program without public knowledge. The other question that I had when I was watching the trailer, and I love the trailer, right? And I love the idea that, you know, going to what I all said, you know, these animals were too dangerous for the original park. They're full genos, which is why they look the way that they look. Maybe that's what made them so aggressive for the original park. We haven't seen the movie yet, I don't know. I'm just speculating here. But my one issue was with the Mosasaurus. So in that scene where the Mosasaurus is attacking the boat with the 3 Spinos, I noticed that it's in open ocean. So why does the Mosasaurus stay around that island when it has the whole ocean to explore? So I have a few potential possibilities for that one. So the first one is the island provides a consistent food source. So in the wild, marine predators stay where food is abundant. If Rebirth's island has plenty of fish, marine reptiles, or even land mammals that wander too close to the shore, the Mosasaurus would not even need to leave. The second one is the Mosasaurus was conditioned to stay near the island. So if the Mosasaurus was raised or experimented on at the Rebirth facility, it may have been trained or genetically altered to stay close. Now, we have seen this technology in the timeline, again bringing up Camp Cretaceous, where they had implants in the dinosaurs that they could kind of control them and kind of control how far they went, where they went, etc. Maybe InGen had something like that on this island, or maybe the new company that came onto the island to do the experiments implanted those into the dinosaurs. So the other theory is maybe the island has an artificial barrier or something controlling it. So instead of being implanted in the dinosaur itself, maybe there are barriers out in the water that kind of stop the Mosasaurus from escaping that area. Now, in the Jurassic World canon, the Mosasaurus was highly aggressive and likely developed territorial instincts. If this Mosasaurus has lived around the Rebirth Island for a long time or its whole life, it might see it as a potential hunting ground, chasing away anything else that enters the waters, thus claiming the area for itself. Or it's the only Mosasaurus in existence. We don't know what happened to the Jurassic World Mosasaurus, or if they're even acknowledging its existence in the new movie. If this Mosasaurus is the only one of its kind, it may not have a reason to venture into the deep ocean where it could face larger predators or lack of familiar territory, so it just stays to what it knows. Another thing that I also have seen online, which is possible, I've heard a lot that the Mosasaurus could be blind. So that kind of goes into the theory of it staying close to that area because it's a food source and it's blind, so it can't really hunt properly. Which also, if you see the trailer, I've seen a lot of people talk about the fact that it comes out of the water the way it does and it misses the boat. Well, did it intend to do that, or did it just miss because it's blind? I don't know. You guys tell me. Well, there you guys have it. That is my 2 cents in terms of the timeline. I cannot wait for this movie to kind of piece all these pieces together. I'm probably way off with my predictions in terms of the timeline. Maybe we're going to learn something completely new. I'm sure as maybe another trailer comes out or more information comes up, maybe I'll update this video. But I just wanted to kick back, enjoy the evening. It's a blizzard outside. I live in Toronto, Canada, and we got like 50 centimeters of snow over the last couple of days, so I'm snowed in my house. And I was just thinking it'd be a lot of fun to just kick back, relax, talk to you guys about one of my favorite movie franchises of all time. It excites me so much. Like, even on my laptop, Jurassic Park stickers like crazy. I even have this one on my car. So I love this community. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna go play some Jurassic World Evolution because I kind of want to make a secret facility that's like Rebirth. Again, not trying to be a Jurassic channel, just wanted to come out and just like have a talk and just kind of hang out. If you guys want me to show you some of the parks I've built, comment down below, let me know. I'd love to do it. Maybe I'll do like something like a live stream one day or something and just kind of build a park or show it to you. But yeah, you guys let me know. But anyways, I'm gonna stop talking and I'll let you guys get back to it. And yeah, check out some of my other videos. There's a lot of different things on the channel. I do a lot of criminal investigation deep dives. I love ghost stories, paranormal and investigations. I've done a lot of like cooking videos and paint nights and just a little bit of everything. That's kind of what this channel's about. It's just whatever I feel like doing that week. The point is just to have fun. So, and I talk a lot. So I'm gonna shut up. Enjoy the rest of the night, guys, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.